scratching. Just a little bit though. If you want to, please make sure to like and subscribe, because my life is crazy and you might want to follow along, because I don't think I've had the end of this yet. So, I thought we're gonna talk about my lovely landlord today, because there's been some incidents, let's say it like that, and I'm a bit shocked at how things are going. So, as probably most of you know, I live with my boyfriend. We have an apartment together. This is my first big girl apartment, the first one after I moved out of my parents' house. And yeah, it's not great, but it's on its way. Yeah, so first apartment, it's obviously a student apartment. It's not like the greatest, but we really like it. It's really affordable and it has a good layout. It's lots of natural light, so I love it. Maybe I'll do an apartment tour soon. I just don't know yet. I don't know yet. But one of the main selling points that I absolutely loved when we moved in here was that we had an absolute super sweet landlord. It's like an older lady, and she was just absolutely lovely when we first moved in here. She was like super friendly, and I think she loved us, we loved her, and it was just really good. I really liked her. And in the beginning she was she was obviously the landlord, but she was under contract with one of those rental property agencies that help you do all the paperwork and stuff. So when we moved in, the lady from the agency, I don't know how it's called, she wasn't too friendly. She tried to scam us with a lot of things. You know how you go through the apartment in the beginning and you kind of see all the damage and then see what needs to be repaired and what's there, so you don't have to repair it at the end. And she was, obviously she noticed me being kind of young, also my boyfriend, and she did actually kind of try and make me sign off some damages that we didn't cause, and that were already there, and she kind of just wanted to put some of that stuff under the rug, if you know what I mean. It's kind of it was a bit iffy. Obviously we told our landlord that, and she ended up determining her contract with that agency, so she was no longer with them. And then for a year or so she did it herself, and that was kind of when our problems started. I don't want to say problems, because I still really like her, but I ended up changing my phone contract. I had a prepaid before, and then changed to having an actual contract. So I got a new number, and I immediately gave her the new number. I wrote an email. I sent the rental agency we had at that time an email with the new number, and it was all good so far. And then actually on this roof you can see here, this is this land, but up here right next to me there's a cutout for a window, so it's normal height nurse land and has a window. And on the roof basically we all of a sudden started to have water damage, so there was water you can see seeping through the roof into the wall, whatever. So I called our landlord, who at that time did all the paperwork and agency stuff, and she told me obviously that needs to be fixed, and she's gonna send someone who is gonna have a look at it. reach you. And I was like, I didn't get like any calls. And she started to be like, she was really like mad at me, and I could like tell, and I was like, okay. And then she was like, oh yeah, and you could like be here and like not be on vacation so much. And I was like, excuse me, I can be on vacation as much as I want. Like, shouldn't you be happy? I don't like, I'm not here and use your property that much, but still pay for it. It was a bit weird, but I was just like, alright. And she said she's gonna tell the contractors to call me, so I should expect a call in the next couple of weeks. I literally anxiously waited by the phone every day. I accepted every bloody spam call I got. I got a lot of spam calls. Do you get lots of spam calls? I don't know, just terribly much spam calls. Anyway, after like 2 weeks or so, I end up getting an email from her, and it was like a really, really angry email that I should please like answer the phone for the contractors, and like she wasn't nice about that. And so I called her and I was like, what the hell are you talking about? No contractor called me. I don't know, like what's going on? Like no one is trying to call me. You can give me their number, I can try and call them, but no one has called me. And big confusion on her side. She's like, no, they like tried like every day. She was getting angry. I was getting like upset because I'm very, very unconfrontational. I'm like very sweet. I can't be mean to people. And she was just like starting to get really, really angry at me, and I was just literally like, I didn't get any calls. And then I was like, what number did she give them? Are they like calling the correct number? And then she proceeds to read out my old number, the one that at that point I haven't had for an entire year. And I was like, that isn't my number. I like told you that isn't my number. And she was just kind of like, well, you could have like told me. And I was like, I told you like a year ago. I don't know where the issue is. And we ended up hanging up. The contractors called me on the new number. Apparently they have tried to call me on my old number multiple times, which obviously I did not answer. So it turns out it was just a huge misunderstanding, but quite annoying for me because she was really, really mad at me, and I was like, I don't know what I've done. But yeah, we ended up having the contractors over, and that was fine. They didn't fix it, which is funny. They literally ended up painting over it. Whatever. I at that point didn't want to argue. But all ended up being fine. I ended up sending her the email where I told her my new number. I sent it at the end, and she ended up apologizing, which ended up being all good. But from here on out, I feel like we had a lot of more incidents where it started to not be so fun anymore. And then after a bit last year, they ended up redoing our pipes. They were like doing somewhat of pipe work at the house, and we were told for 2 weeks, we weren't gonna be able to flush or drain any water. And they gave us like some times because they were gonna like work on the open pipes from like 8 in the morning to like 5. So in that outside in the courtyard in front of the house, just so, you know, the people who live in our apartment as well, in our apartment block, would be able to go use the toilet during the day. But you guessed it, me and my boyfriend, we couldn't, because we weren't allowed to like even leave the apartment. We like couldn't go down and use the toilet without not listening to our quarantine rules. So we tried to find any solution for that with our landlord and also the contracting company, but no one wanted to help us in any way. They just weren't bothered at all. Nothing. But yeah, we figured it out ourselves. It wasn't fun, but I don't want to talk about it. But we were kind of upset about how it was handled, because just like no one wanted to like do anything. Like they were just unbothered. Like obviously I didn't expect them to stop the pipe working or something, but just like a little help would have been appreciated. Yeah, nothing happened. So my dad, who is by the way on the lease as well, just because we're just students, we didn't have enough like credentials to rent an apartment on our own, or we didn't even try. So he's on the lease and he pays the rent, we pay him. So we have like a backup plan if anything would happen that we couldn't pay rent or something. It never happened. So he's basically doing the payments, and he was getting a bit mad about us being just completely left alone with the toilet situation. So he ended up writing an email, and he was asking for a rent reduction for the time being of us not having any access to sanitary usage of toilets and showers. No one ever got back to us about that, so that was kind of like rude in a way, but whatever. It wouldn't have been much, because you can only reduce rent by like a certain amount, so it was only like 40 euros a month or something, so disregardable. I'm like trying really hard not to touch my hair because I know it annoys a lot of people, but especially today it keeps falling in my face, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to annoy, but it happens. Like now, like I think it's when I freshly wash it that it just keeps falling. Alright, so fast forwarding 9 months, we have a new rental agency now. We didn't have any contact with them so far, but I'm guessing it was too much work for her to do it alone, so now we have them, which so far no contact or whatever. That's been all going well, but we have a like boiler, I don't know how it's called. In winter you can sometimes hear it in my videos when it like boils the water up. It like hangs in our kitchen, so it has like a flame inside or something, and that's how our apartment heats. Don't ask me, that's one of those things that I have like no idea about. Anyway, we have had the problem that in our shower, it's only the shower, no other washing. So we have the problem that during the showers, the hot water will just randomly turn off, and then it shows like an error code on our boiler fridge like overly quickly. I've never had that problem really. So we tried to like change the settings in our fridge, but nothing would help. Then we tried to clean it all out. We cleaned it for like 2 full days. We like scrubbed it, and it didn't help either. Our fridge is weirdly always going really, really quickly, really, really bad. Just so much mold. Never seen it in my life. So we decided to check up on it. It was more my dad's idea than mine. And I got a little like Bluetooth thermostat for the fridge. It's just like, it's not for the fridge, but it just like measures the temperature and it sends it to your phone, and then it does like a funny little graph. It actually looks pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. So we kind of like tried to check up on how cold our fridge actually goes, and I hope no one's going to be surprised, but our fridge doesn't cool properly. It only cools to like 10 degrees. I could not tell you what that's in Fahrenheit. 0 degrees to 7 degrees is what's normal for fridge, and 10 is not. Especially not because we get the peaks of 13.5 degrees in our fridge. So I was like, okay, obviously the fridge isn't cooling anymore. We tried different other settings, but it just doesn't go down. We tried one setting that was like terrible. It would like jump between 8 and 15 degrees in the matter of like 30 minutes. So it would keep cooling down and then heating back up. I don't know what the hell I was doing. Anyway, I was like, I messaged our landlord. I messaged the rental agency, and I was like, look, this is wrong, this is wrong. And then all of a sudden, I was like outside on a walk, I get a call from the same number, same-ish number. I get a call from a same-ish number, like the area code was the same. So I answer the phone, and it is someone from the rental agency. I hope that's the correct word. And they were like, I can't remember what exactly it is, but it's kind of rude. That's why I kind of want to repeat it correctly. But they were just like, hey, you didn't pay your rent for the last 2 months. And I'm like, huh? I didn't what? And the guy was like, you didn't pay your rent. And I was like, so I'm like pretty sure I did. And then he asked me like to repeat my name and like the address and stuff, and I was like, yeah, like that's correct. But he kept saying that we didn't pay our rent, and like I knew we paid our rent because my dad always pays it, and he even pays it up front. So he pays it in the month and days of the month beforehand. And I was like, we did pay it. But the guy was just constantly like, no, you didn't pay it. You didn't pay August and you didn't pay September. And I was like, I'm 100% sure we did. And I was just like, what are you talking about? I don't even like send you the money. So he also just kept getting like mean. He was like, no, you don't pay August or September. You usually have to pay in the first couple of days, and you didn't. And your landlord has been complaining. And I was like, okay, and you tell me that now after I complained this morning about something not working. Odd. So we hang up. I like frantically commented. I'm like, what the hell happened? Because we have a how do you say that? Like, you can do that with your bank. So every month on the same day, they just book the amount of and send it to where it goes. You can do that with your bank. I don't know how it's called. So it's just automized that every month it books that amount of my dad's account and sends it to our landlord. It's easy. And me at all that you don't have it? And he just kept going like, we don't have it, I don't know, we don't have it, you didn't send it. And I was like, yeah, we did. Like, what the hell? So I kind of like got really frustrated, and in the end he was like, alright, he's gonna like have a look if he finds the money. And I'm like, well, you fucking better. It's like $1.50. He's just like missing, like, what the hell? Anyway, it was kind of like random as hell, because I was like, can we like talk about my fridge now? But he didn't say anything about that. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the day, someone rings on our doorbell, and I just look at my boyfriend and I'm like, that is either someone from the rental agency or our landlord, because our landlord likes to show up unannounced, which is illegal in Germany. Not sure about America, but as a landlord, especially if you want access to the apartment, you need a schedule it. Anyway, I open the door, and it is the rental agency guy, and he just like stands in front of me. He had like a semi-valid reason to be there, so I was like, so I talked to him for a second about the money, and he's like, no, and I was like, okay, will we send it? And then he asks me about the boiler, and I was like, yeah, just like this wire and stuff. And he's like, well, what would you want to do about it? And I'm like, I don't know, this is my apartment, like, what do you want to do about it, sir? Like, isn't that your job? And he was kind of being like really weird, and like he wanted me to tell him what to do, like, I don't know. I was like, well, none of the 10 other contractors found anything, so maybe you want to send someone who looks at something else, I don't know. Maybe the gas pipes up here shit or whatever. It's really random. Also, he kept like trying to stare at my apartment. If I look at you like that, he kept going like this to like look around me. And I was like really sketchy. I was a bit like confused. I was like, okay, sir, I need you to back up. But I was like, okay, perfect chance. I'll like show him the fridge, because the thermostat we bought is like sitting in the middle of the fridge for everyone to see. So I showed to him to show him that the fridge doesn't work, and the fridge right now is on 11.5 degrees Celsius. And I'm like, yeah, well, like it doesn't drop lower than 8 degrees max, and that doesn't hold it for like 5 minutes. And the guy's like, well, 8 is like the minimum it has to have. And I'm like, no sir, it needs to have like at least 7 degrees constantly. That's like the highest setting. And he's trying to like bullshit me, and I was like, especially because it clearly showed 11.5 degrees and not 8, and I was just saying that it holds 8 for like 2 minutes till it shoots up to 15. So I don't know. The whole talk was just so random. It was so weird. Anyway, that was literally today's Tuesday. That was Saturday, Friday, and Thursday where this all happened. So I don't know any updates. My dad wrote them a really cranky email because he was a bit mad about the whole rent missing thing, and that our complaints have been so far just being ignored. Like, your fridge doesn't cool, can I like, you know, it's kind of a bit urgent. Especially, our fridge is one of those fridges that you have in like a cabin, so it's not a standalone fridge, like a built-in one. Does that make sense? So, we are like happy to buy a new fridge, wouldn't be a problem, but I can't just chuck their fridge out. It belongs to them. I'd have to repay it, and you know, I need to put that somewhere, which would be their responsibility. And I obviously wouldn't buy a fridge that fits, like standalone fridge there. So obviously as well, I'd have to get permission from our landlord to do it, because I can't just, you know, empty out their kitchen. But they don't want to give me like any responses. We haven't heard back from them since. So I'm kind of just like waiting on them to tell me what the hell they want to do about the fridge. Technically they have to repair it or get a new one, but as I said, I'd be happy to buy a new one, but I kinda need them to give me something I can work with, because right now our milk is going very bad in the fridge, and I don't want to keep having to buy groceries that go bad in like 2 days. But I can wait, I guess. Oh well. I'm gonna definitely keep you guys updated about that situation. But I don't know. It's been annoying me a little bit, because the we didn't pay rent thing isn't off the table yet either. So I kinda need to see what's going on there. So this video is definitely gonna have an update. Also, can you hear my downstairs neighbours yelling? I'm gonna start having sexy time, because I do like to do that. I haven't got them lately. For anyone who wanted an update, they've been quieter. Funnily enough though, the guy downstairs, I keep seeing his airdrop pop up. And you know how I said I did a voice memo of them having their little sexy time before, because I sent it to my mom. I was heavily debating airdropping it to him. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know if I'm too petty, and like if that's a bit weird if I do that, if he'd like even recognize that was like him. But yeah. Anyway, but they've been more or less quiet lately. I don't want to say really quiet, but no, really obnoxiously loud sexy time, which is really good. I'm happy about that. I can do that. But yeah, I think that is about everything that I have for gossip. And as for an update for the downstairs neighbours, they've been doing well. But I hope you liked this video. I didn't do a lot of mic scratching because I was so enraged in my story. I'm very sorry about that. But I hope you liked the whispering. Anyway guys, thank you for listening to all my rants. I sometimes feel a bit shady that I just like rant to you, but we're friends.